talking about your brother, Congressman Ron Paul, watching him in and out of Congress in the last 30 years, first went there in the 80s for a short stint and came back in the 90s, going from no one co-sponsoring his bills to his bills now passing the House. We've gone from maybe 1% of Americans knowing the Federal Reserve is private to some polls over 90% wanting to audit it or abolish it. It's exponentially growing. To see him get an 84% approval rating in Texas, 80+% of the vote in the Republican primary, to see constitutionalists molded in your brother's stead, mimicking what he's done as a prototype, running at the state level everywhere. I mean, this has got to be really exciting for you.
I think it is one of the most amazing things. As you know, I have 4 older brothers, Ron being one of them, and it's amazing to me. I've been the closest to Ron in terms of philosophy, understanding, and learning as it relates to privacy, as it relates to liberty. But it was fascinating to see the other 3 brothers listen to him and slowly absorb what he was saying. So even they have turned around and learned a lot over the last 2 years in terms of what Ron's been able to do. And he absolutely is a beacon of a shining light out there for other people to look at, follow, learn, and understand from. And when he started 35 years ago, he said, I want to do this for educational purposes. I don't think I'll ever make a difference, but if I can get one more people to understand, or one more person to understand what I understand, this country will be better off. And I think that's happening today.
Well, it's another testament to what one person taking action and joining with others can do. We have to have the long view of history and take our country, county, city, state, federal back and put out the truth versus the controlled corporate system and big government systems lies. And in the end, their tyranny will not stand, no matter how many police, how many black helicopters, how many cameras, how many spies, how much surveillance, false flag terror. None of it is going to hold this together. And we can see the momentum shifting against them right now. But looking at what your brother's been able to do, what you've been able to do. But I just wonder, because I'm 36 years old and I get exhausted doing 4 hours a day, working on films, reading legislation, doing other interviews. And I say no to most interviews now. I don't know how your brother at 74 years old.
That's correct.
How he, because I happen to know a lot about his schedule. I mean, the guy is working 14, 15, 16 hours a day. And I've never seen anyone as dynamic as your brother. And he is absolutely possessed with liberty in a Thomas Jefferson type way, burning in the minds of men. Just briefly, what makes your brother tick?
Well, I think he's excited about the prospects of liberty. He's excited about the young people learning about liberty, and he just feels that that's where our future lies. And I give the example of a local family here that I know personally whose son graduated from high school this year, and he's 17 years old, and his thesis paper for his senior year was written on the Federal Reserve. He then had to give a talk in front of, he had to defend his thesis in front of the parents and in front of his classmates as to why he felt as he did. Now, when I was a senior in high school, I wouldn't have had a clue as to what to talk about, but here's a 17-year-old that's read more books in every book that runs ever printed.
And there's millions in high school learning about the New World Order and learning about liberty and freedom. That's why the globalists are so scared.
Absolutely.
In fact, I talked to Daniel Estelin, who really does have sources in Bilderberg. I even know their names off record. And he said in 2006, they were deathly afraid of Ron Paul. Then again in 2008. And they said, we may have to take him out. And I brought this up to your brother, and he knows this is a reality. Not because he had a chance to win the presidency, at least at that time frame, but because the hottest thing on campuses is anti-New World Order in the Fed, displacing the phony right-wing and phony left-wing paradigm, and that they are scared to death.
Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. And if you take a look, we just had an election in the state representative race in the 7th district. A gentleman by the name of David Simpson beat in a primary an incumbent of 7 terms, who, in my opinion, is a typical rhino, and he got defeated. And I think that's totally encouraging, and it's something that I think is fantastic for everybody to see and witness the changes that are taking place.
Let me throw this out there, and then we're going to calls. In internal White House memos, Cass Sunstein memos, White House regulations are, in congressional hearings, in internal Bilderberg group meetings, their number one thing they talk about is U.S. patriots and our ideas spreading worldwide. We are the only thing standing between the globalist and world domination and the hellish eugenic system they want to set up. I want listeners to really have a gut check moment. That's not rhetoric you just heard. That's not hype. This is the truth. We are all that stands between humanity and absolute dehumanization. This is the most scientific, most wicked group humanity has ever faced. And we are having an effect to the point of, in their top councils, they are afraid because they know that we know that they are a pack of criminals and illegitimate. And if we keep carrying this message, and if they can't demonize us, which they're trying to do, they're going down. Let's go ahead and take a call. Pat in California, you're on the air.
Hey, Alex, how you doing?
Good, go ahead.
Okay, hey, real quick. You had a gentleman on yesterday, the Marine, who said he was kind of like readapt and was kind of fed up. Now, hey, I want to use him for president because basically I'm a union plumber laid off, San Jose. They told us no work for 2 years. They're going to try to jam this health care bill down our throat with, 300 and some things, taxes. Everybody's losing their job. There's no work.
That then takes the union health care you paid for.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I pay $10.46 an hour. It's ridiculous.
I know.
But what I see is, who's going to pay for this? Are they insane? I really believe that we need to peacefully get up if they pass this health care bill and get to the streets peacefully and say, this is enough.
All right, stay there. I'm going to come back to you, Pat, let you finish up and go to Wayne Paul. We're going to keep him 5 minutes to the next hour. We can do that. Then we're going to get Bob Chapman on for news blitzes and the economy. We'll be right back.